The UK driving test requires a candidate to demonstrate their ability to manoeuvre the car at low speeds, including an element of reversing, in a randomly selected set task, all of which come with the requirements of having the ability to control the car at low speeds to gain a degree of accuracy dependent on what you're expected to do, as well as having a sufficient level of observations so that you can identify and deal with any hazard that you may encounter. And the manoeuvre we are going to look at in this video is the reverse bay park, the ability to reverse the car into the confines of a parking space on the left hand side. Reversing the car into a bay is more favourable as it's much safer to come out afterwards. And on the driving test, the driving examiner may say to you, "I'd like you to reverse into a convenient space, finishing within the lines." And the pupil is free to choose which bay to park in, as long as all four wheels are within the bay lines. There are two main ways in how to do this manoeuvre. Both, if done correctly, will satisfy the requirements of the UK driving test, and it's really down to which method the pupil feels comfortable with. And the first is known as the 90 degrees method, as being demonstrated by the driver. He selects a bay on the left, checks his mirrors and put a left signal on, and approaches in the middle of the road to give him sufficient turning space. And he stops the car opposite the third bay, past the bay that he's going to reverse into. With good all-round observations, he then slowly reverses straight until he matches up the first bay line he sees with his own personal reference point, and then applies full lot left. The car then reverses into the bay, and when the car is then straight, the driver straightens the wheel and stops and secures the car when it is within all bay lines. If the manoeuvre is being carried out en route, the driving examiner may then give the instructions to pull out of the bay, turn left, and then continue with the driving test. If so, prepare the car in first gear and with good all-round observations, making sure it's safe. Very slowly pull out and only apply full lot left when the car is out of the bay. The following diagram provides further clarity on the turning point, and you will need to work with your driving instructor to locate this, as it depends on the car and your seat position. But by approaching in the middle of the road and opposite the third bay after the bay that we're going to park into, once we've checked it safe, we begin to reverse slowly and we apply full lock left, matching up the first line that we come to with our reference point. Now a step-by-step guide from inside the car. So let's start by selecting the bay and then mirrors and signal, making sure it's safe and telling people what you're doing, and then move into the middle of the road. After that, we're going to stop the car opposite the third bay after the selected bay, and then secure the car. Look all around the car, including over your left shoulder, and get the car reversing slowly, applying full lock left, matching up your reference point to the next bay line. As the car slowly turns, continue looking for any hazards, stop if necessary. Use your blind spot mirrors to make sure that we will finish in the bay, and get your head up to ensure that the car is straight. And when it is straight, straighten out your front wheel with 1.5 turns to the right. The car now reverses straight, and stop when the car is within the confines of the bay by checking both blind spot mirrors and the right hand wing mirror, line it up to the front bay line. Secure the car, handbrake on, into neutral, and wait for further instructions. The second way to perform the reverse bay park is what's known as the 45-degree method. Many similarities, but the differences is that you will stop close to and in front of the bay you're going to reverse into, and taking it out to roughly 45 degrees, and then reverse the car in as demonstrated in the video. A little bit more involved, but this method you're more likely to use in general driving, but you are more likely to need more advanced steering skills to be able to guide the car in to the confines of the bay. Again, once in the bay, nice and secure, you may be instructed by the driving examiner to pull out of the bay, which the driver is doing without driving over any other bay in the car park. Let's have a look at this with a technical overview to give you a little bit more instruction. Again, the reference points are very much individual. You'll need to work out what works best for you and the car that you are driving. Approach straight and slow and as far left as you can after checking your mirrors and putting the left-hand signal on. Your point to turn is when your shoulder is lined up halfway of the bay we're going to reverse into. Look into your right mirror and blind spot. Fall up right as quick as you can. Continue to move forward roughly to 45 degrees until you can see in your left-hand blind spot mirror the second line of the bay you're going to reverse into, which is in line with your front door handle, and then stop. Following your observations, full lock left, slow car, and you may need to adjust your steering. As soon as the car is straight, straighten the wheels and continue to reverse, and then stop when you're confident that the car is within all four lines of the bay. So now the view from within the car. So once you've selected your bay, mirrors and left signal, and approach straight as tight to the left as you can. Halfway of the bay we want to go in, take the car full lock right to 45 degrees after making sure it's safe. Stop when the second bay line lines up with your front door handle, select reverse and hard lock left once you've had a good look around the car, including look out of the back window. Check your blind spot mirrors for the car's positioning and adjust your steering if necessary. And when the car is straight, take your left turn off and stop when you're happy that the car is within the bay lines. All the clips so far showed reversing into bays on the left. What about if the bay is on the right hand side? To be honest, regardless if you're using the 45 or the 90 degrees method, it's pretty much the same. Apart from everything is from the right perspective. The position of the car is on the right. Mirrors and signal on the right. Checking the car's position using the right bay line. And all your reference points again are looking down to the right. You may have to park adjacent to other cars. The technique is exactly the same. And I actually think it's easier to do it against other cars, as you now have a tangible object to line your car up against. But just be careful that you keep your car slow. Be aware of the car's position at all times. Be aware of reduced visibility and see any other potential hazards and risks. And ensure you do leave sufficient space for other people to get in and out of their car. Don't risk any body damage to your own. And come out and readjust if necessary. In the final clips, let's see what we can do if we don't manage to get the car in the bay first time of asking. Remember, if the car isn't in the bay at the end of the manoeuvre, it constitutes a serious fault and you will not pass the driving test. At the end of the test, the driving examiner may say, "Are you happy with that?" It's a clue that things may be tight, or a prompt to at least check that you're in the bay. The car in the video has blind spot mirrors, a great help to check if both rear wheels are within the lines. You may be able to see this with your normal wing mirrors, or if you can't, you can adjust these downwards. Alternatively, simply open the car door. Once you've stopped, of course. Also ask yourself, is the car straight? In the video, the driver will see in his mirrors that the rear wheels are in the bay lines, but because the car isn't straight, the front wheels will not be. With any doubt, just take the car out and bring it back in again. And as long as you have good control and adequate observations dealing with any hazard, you should only pick up a control driving fault, which will be a minor. Adjusting on the way in is perfectly acceptable. In this clip, the driver quickly realises he will end up too far to the left if he continues the same line. Therefore, he decides to take some of the left turn off to drag the car back over to the right. He knows this by looking into his left blind spot mirror whilst maintaining good all-round observations. And in this clip, the driver brings the car too far to the right. Therefore, he decides to keep his left turn on past when the car is straight to drag it over, and then quickly to the right to straighten the car. So, in conclusion with the reverse bay park, work with your driving instructor on a method that works best for you. Carry out the manoeuvre slowly and be accurate on your turning points. Adjust if necessary, and get your head up to make sure the car is straight, and when it is, straighten your wheel. And it's important to make good observations throughout the manoeuvre. If you have any questions relating to this video, please do not hesitate to contact me. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Best of luck with your driving endeavours, and please check out other videos in the Driving Ambition series.